Represents homepage is one of the cleanest in the luxury streetwear. Edge to edge hero, has a category grid, the kind of polish that it would cost brands 40, 50,000 plus when they pay an agency to actually build this whole thing. And in this video, I'm going to take a screenshot of the homepage, drag it into Claude Design, and walk away and see if it can come out with a working Shopify theme based on what we're seeing on the homepage. So again, the idea is from a screenshot to a live preview of a website on Shopify. The thing that used to take 4-6 weeks, I'm going to be doing it all in this single video. For quick context, I'm Christian Pignon, one of the co-founders here at Bit Branding. We're a clothing brand marketing agency. We've helped and we've worked with over 800 clothing brands through our programs and our memberships. Building Shopify stores is basically all that we do all day, which is exactly why I want to test this. Because if a couple of AI tools can compress a 4-week build into just a few hours, that changes the economics in every store project that we run and every store project that you might be also planning. So I'm gonna show you what works, what breaks, and where the real human time still has to go, because not everything here is gonna be perfect. So let's talk about the tools. There's 2 tools in this video, both from Anthropic, both included in any of the paid plans that Claude has. So Claude Design is the visual one. Anthropic actually launched this in April, and you essentially describe what you want and it builds a working design on a canvas next to the chat. You refine it with comments, sliders. I will say this is still a research preview product, and it's included with the Pro, Max, Team, and Enterprise accounts. And then also we're gonna be talking about Claude Code. This is kind of like the engineering behind, right? The actual development in the back end. So this is more of a terminal tool. So you install it, you point a project folder in your computer, you can read entire code databases, write code, run shell commands, fix its own bugs. And Shopify just recently shipped an official integration with Claude earlier, and which is what's gonna really make this whole video possible for us. So let's get to the actual setup and jump into Claude Design. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're going to make sure that this is all connected. At some point, Shopify had released this Shopify AI toolkit, and they gave you some options in here on how to install it, but we don't have to necessarily do all this right now, because now we have a better connection through an official connector. So if you are on your Claude desktop app, you can make sure that you're in the code option. You can click customize in here, and then you go to connectors, and then you just basically add, you can browse connectors and you find Shopify. So we already had it installed, but I have to disconnect it and reconnect it just to see how this works. If you have multiple stores, you may have to disconnect and reconnect. So for example, we have a bunch of different stores for testing and different purposes. So I'm going to do this brand new store that we created so that it only targets that particular store. For you, you may have to just connect this once and you're good to go. But if you do run multiple stores, you may have to do this for those particular stores. Okay. Now this is going to essentially have a sort of like a custom app that you need to install to make sure that you create that connection. And if we go to our Shopify, you'll see now we have all of these tools that we can use. For me, I'm going to just hit always allow for all of these, just to make it a little bit easier for me when I'm creating or changing or making things happen in the back end. All right, let's hit back. Let's do a new session. Okay, looks like we're connected. Let's just run a quick test. Let's see, get list of themes in my shop. The first few times that you run this, you may have to still have it for a lot of these permissions and a lot of these things. And then once you've done all these, a lot of times you won't have to necessarily do them again. Okay, there we go. And then we have our test data, horizon, and then debut vintage theme. And then we have our test data, which is our main live theme. Let me go ahead and double check that. So if we go to here and we go to our online store, there we go. We have our test data as our main theme. And then we have the debut vintage and the horizon theme right underneath. All right, so now that we have everything here connected, we've confirmed that our Claude Code can read and is connected to our Shopify store because it's able to pull all this information. Now let's go into the next step. Quick disclaimer too that I want to just be upfront about. I'd never tell you to literally clone another brand's website and ship it. I think that's a fast track to one, just looking generic, getting sued, or actually both. What we're doing here is really studying the structure, the hierarchy, the spacing, the type system, so you can apply those principles to your own brand. All right, so I've actually published the Horizon theme, just so that's the one that we want to make the changes to. And I want to run run just a quick test, right? And on the Horizon theme on the homepage, add a 3-column section with shipping, returns, and secure payment options with an icon for each column. And let's see how it actually does with just a simple command here. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like it blocks it from being on a live theme. So what we're gonna do is, let's see if we can ask it to change Horizon to non-published. Let's say bring back the, what was the name of it? Test data. And I guess that would probably be best practice. If you have this website live, you probably want to create a copy of your theme so that if there are any errors or anything like that, you can always catch them and fix them before it actually goes live. Got it. So it looks like we have to go ahead and do that automatically, or manually. So let me go in here and let's publish this one. Now that we have the Horizon done here. Amazing. So it looks like it's created that section. And by the way, I also want to clarify, we are using Sonnet 4.6 high. We're probably 3/4 the way there. So let's go and check out the Horizon theme. We're just gonna go ahead and refresh this and see how it created that section. So looks like, we have trust badges in here. We click on that. We can manipulate color schemes, the width, each of the badges. Now we cannot necessarily manipulate the actual icons that it picks. I kind of pick those automatically. But again, I just want to do just a quick test just to see how it would do. And again, it's pretty good. I would say if you wanted to, and we can always reprompt it and give it more instructions on, we want the ability to change the icon images, for example, or we want the ability for mobile to be a completely different view, which it did actually a really good job of making sure that it was mobile friendly, and it actually stacks up on top of each other on the mobile side. So that test was great. So let's go ahead. I want to do a couple of tests in here. I want to take a full screenshot of the Represent homepage and see if we could just paste it in here and say, make this happen, and see what happens. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go and check for Represent. And then in here, I've taken a screenshot of this whole homepage, which again, at the end of the day, it's somewhat straightforward. I would say this section here, it's a little bit different. So we'll see. I don't think it will be able to, just from a screenshot, be able to get that. But I do want to see if we can just one shot majority of this and see how it does. Now let's go ahead and do the prompt in here. So let's do files and folders. We have our image here. All right, so it's actually asking which collections do we want featured on the home page. Let's do number 1, which is I'll list them, and then how many hero product sections pairs do you want? Represent using 4-file alternative. Yep, let's go full represent style, and then keep the transparent section. No, that one section that we just created, let's go ahead and remove that. Okay, what are the collection names in feature? Awesome. So it recognized that it doesn't have any collections created yet in the back end, but it's going to go ahead and create all 4 of those collections so you can actually connect them on the front end. Okay, this took about 8 minutes total. Obviously we sped up and paused, so you don't have to just sit here and wait, but it essentially just kind of created all these little sections just like Represent has on their homepage. I'm very curious to see how this actually looks. So let's go ahead and go to Shopify to see what this looks like. So let's go to our Represent theme here. Let's refresh this and see the sections that are generated and some of the options that we have for each of these. So just at a glance, right, this is a very, very basic sections. So it still used the actual Horizon section, so it didn't necessarily create anything new, it looks like, in here. Let me see this new arrivals. We have a header, collection title, we have the view all button, and then it lets me select different collections, which it actually created those collections for me, which is great. Now let's try to push it a little bit further and see if, because obviously we can tweak things and make things happen just like they are here. So I do want to say, for example, this here at the bottom, the way that they have all these links and all these pages, I want to see if it can truly do this footer, for example. So let's take just a screenshot of that footer area and see what we can do. Let's go ahead and copy that and see if we can just paste it in here. I want to mimic this footer. close as possible. I'm gonna say, because it does have that floating chat button. I also want to say if the pages are not non-existing. It's interesting how, yeah, I was able to, I think, get the gist, right, of that screenshot of, it's just, yeah, hero product. So it's a very somewhat, straightforward, basic sections. But there are some things inside of those that I think make it truly unique for Represent. So I do want to see how it does the footer, and then we may go into the actual sections, get just a deeper screenshot of it, and see how well it can actually recreate some of those things. All right, this one took a little bit longer. I would say a total probably a good 15 minutes, a bunch of different allows to go through, but it actually, it created 18 plus pages because we didn't have any of those pages created in the backend. So let's see how this looks. My main concern here really with using just strictly Claude Code is the inability to visually see what's happening, right? Like I'm kind of giving it a screenshot and then saying like, here you go, make it happen. And there's going to be certain things where, yeah, you're going to have to kind of go back and forth quite a lot, to make it exactly what we need to make it. So as you can see here, not the best setup. It kind of, it got all the things from the screenshot, which is great. Again, it created all the pages, which is amazing. It created all the menus automatically, which is amazing. So all of that, it's really good. But when it comes to getting it to look exactly how we need it to look, I think pasting it directly through Claude Code may not be the best idea. Now, I do want to test one more thing, which is going to be using Claude Design and seeing how maybe we can use Claude Design in order to generate something a little bit more visual, and then we can send that to Claude Code to make these changes live on the website. So let's go ahead and check that out. Now, hey, real quick, if you are running a Shopify clothing brand and you want our team to look at your store and tell you where you're losing conversions, there's a link in the description down below. It's a free strategy call. We do real audit, just generally useful information for your brand. Now, we have the ability to do Claude Design. So I'm here on the actual browser because Claude Design doesn't show up on the application itself. And so if we go in here to Claude Design, you'll see that I've done essentially the same thing that we tried to do with Claude Code, but I give it a little bit more sophisticated prompt in here to try to match everything along with the actual same screenshot that we had before. And part of the actual prompt is the ability to hand it off to Claude Code for Shopify theme implementation to see if we can actually get this to be exactly what we need it to be, right? So at a glance, this actually gives us a visual representation of what the prompt, right, everything that it worked on. So we can now technically make tweaks and changes to this, which is great. So as you can see, we can do tweaks, comments, we can edit, we can mark up things to really get it to be exactly what we need it to be before we technically ship this directly with Claude Code. Now, because we have this in here, let's see, without having to do any edits or anything like that, I do want to see if we have the ability to essentially move this over into Claude Code, essentially. Okay, so it looks like if we click here on the component tree, we'll see everything that Claude Code may need. Okay, now for the handoff, there are two ways we can do this. If you want, you can just prompt it and it will give you sort of like the package for the handoff that you need. You could also go here to the very top, click share, and then do the handoff to Claude Code. So let's try this. Let's copy this command and see if this works. Let's open up our Claude Code. Let's do a new session and let's paste that in here. And then let's give it a little bit more instruction. Implement the homepage in 2.0 to our Horizon V2, which I created just a brand new version of the theme, just so we can compare and see what this
version gonna look like. All right, so we had to try something a little bit different. The first route didn't work, so I just made sure to include within this prompt the fact that we want to, make these changes on my actual Shopify store. Now, it gave me an error here, so we're gonna try to upload the file. So we're gonna go back to downloading this as a zip and then uploading it that way and seeing if that gets us a better result. So we're gonna upload the file. Let me open up let me go ahead and do all of the files. All right, I guess the home page, HTML, let's do those components. All right, so after hitting this allow like 20 times and about 20 minutes later, it looks like we have everything near constructed. So let's double check how this looks on the live theme. Let's exit out of here and see our Horizon V2. All right. So I will say definitely slightly different. It does look like maybe everything got sort of dumped into one single section called the represent home page. It still gives us the ability to edit a lot of these things, and technically, everything in here is essentially what we would need in order to, so let's just see, for example, let's just do home page, say, there we go. So technically, it made all the changes that we needed to in here. Super interesting. And it did capture all of the elements from what we were able to design right within the Claude Design. So I will say, I think if I were to compare the two routes that we took today, using Claude Design would definitely be my go-to. Obviously, there's still some tweaks that we need to make throughout this whole process. So there's definitely going to be a part 2 of this video in order to make this the best version of this available. There's still a lot that's missing, I will say that, but I do think out of the two things that we did today, using Claude Design and then from this actually finalizing images, finalizing products, adding the tweaks right within here will be the way to go in order for you to see something ahead of time before hitting publish.
Now, what does this all mean for you? I think there's going to be 3 audiences that are going to be watching this. Let me tell you what to do depending on which one you are. If you're a brand owner, you have a clothing brand, the math just changed, right, on whether you can afford a real custom theme. 6 months ago, a custom Shopify build was $15,000 to $50,000 or even more. Today, the structural cost of that build just dropped significantly, and the work shifts to brand strategy, to the photography, to conversion testing, which is a lot more exciting, I think. The parts that actually move revenue in my eyes. So if you've been on a stretched Dawn theme or a $200 theme template because a custom build, which is kind of like out of the reach, I think that calculation is different now. And I would implore you to kind of get some quotes again. Now, if you're a Shopify developer, I would say don't panic. The agencies that figure out how to use this the fastest are going to eat the agencies that really don't. So your job just then disappeared. It just kind of moved up the stack. There's less time writing boilerplate sections, more time on actual architecture, performance, custom logic, and the things that actually require judgment. The developers who pair this with a strong conversion rate optimization and brand thinking are about to become extremely valuable. Extremely valuable. Now, if you're an agency operator, you're probably already running this internally, using Claude Design for first pass mockups before going into potentially Figma, piping out designs into Claude Code for the structural liquid build, and then developers actually doing a little bit of customization, performance, a little bit of custom logic, right, on top of everything that's already been built. And it's not about doing fewer projects, it's about doing better projects, right, with more passes, with faster turnaround, and more room for actual strategy work. I think at the end of the day, the tools are not going to replace the team. They're replacing the boring parts of the team's job. Now, the reason I'm putting out videos like this isn't because AI is going to replace anyone. I don't think it is. I think our designers or developers are still the reason themes in general just ship clean, right? There's got to be taste, judgment, and craft. I think those are going to be some of the things that are going to sort of like rise to the top. The tools, I think, just got things to move faster. And if you are a brand owner who's been maybe priced out of good design or good development, or you're an operator trying to move faster, or you're just here because you like seeing how the sausage gets made, it's like you've got more leverage today than you had 6 months ago. Use it. If this is useful for you, then I want you to subscribe. We do builds, we do teardowns. We're always looking for new ideas for videos, for Shopify, for AI. So if you took something out of this video, I implore you to subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're gonna do next with this whole setup. I would love to hear and see what you do. And if you are new here, you haven't seen any of our other videos, I would definitely implore you to check out this next one here.